I entered the room, and she knew me instantly. The door hissed shut behind me, sealing with the soft vacuum thump of an airlock. The chamber beyond was circular, all smooth white alloy and dim amber lighting. In the center stood a single chair facing a wide glass wall. Behind the glass, stars drifted like slow snow. Somewhere beneath the floor, a machine hummed with the steady heartbeat of a civilization older than memory. I'd been walking through the citadel of Concord for nearly an hour, guided by silent drones, scanned by unseen beams, stripped of every electronic possession I owned. No weapons, no communicator, no recording devices. Only me, my breathing, and the quiet certainty that if I'd been invited here, refusal was not an option. The woman waited by the chair. She looked human. That was the first shock. Not just humanoid, human. Same height, same build, same warm copper skin, same dark hair, tied loosely behind her head. But her eyes were wrong. Or right, depending on how you looked at it. They shimmered with faint starlight, tiny moving constellations drifting within the iris. Captain Elias Wren, she said. Earth Defense Coalition. Third Fleet. Survivor of the Perseus incident. I froze. I had not told anyone my name since stepping off the shuttle. No one should have had access to classified Earth military records this deep in alien space. Who are you? I asked. She smiled, not threatening, not kind, simply knowing. My designation, translated to your language, is archivist. I serve the Concord of Species. I store memory. I keep continuity. The Concord summoned me? I asked. Why?
Sit, she said.
The chair adjusted as I lowered myself, forming perfectly to my body. A faint hum surrounded me. I resisted the urge to reach for a sidearm that wasn't there. She stepped closer to the glass wall. Stars glided past. Then the view shifted, impossibly, until a small blue planet filled the window.
Earth.
How? I began. It is not a live feed, she said. It is memory. The image shifted again. A battlefield appeared. I knew it instantly. Perseus outpost. Broken hull plating.
Fire.
Screams. The sky burning with plasma trails. My stomach turned cold. That day, the archivist said, your species was judged. I swallowed. Judged by who? By us. The Concord. The Alliance whispered about in trade routes. The civilization rumored to be older than the galaxy's spiral arms. The ones who decided whether a species joined galactic society or vanished before becoming a threat. I stared at the burning memory of Perseus Outpost. You send the attackers, I said quietly. She nodded. A probe fleet. Automated. Designed to test your responses. Your aggression index. Your innovation threshold. Your unity potential. I wanted to leap from the chair. To scream. To rage. Instead, I forced myself to breathe. And I asked. And you surprised us, she said. The image shifted again. I saw myself in the memory. Younger. Covered in blood and soot. Dragging wounded soldiers toward an evacuation shuttle. Giving orders through chaos. Jury-rigging a plasma coil into a weapon that shouldn't have worked but did. I watched as human ships, outgunned and terrified, adapted. Redirected energy flows. Linked shield grids. Fought together when no doctrine had prepared them. We believed your species fractured, the archivist said. Quarrelsome. Divided. Self-destructive. Most emerging civilizations are. Many fail our test. My fists clenched. You killed thousands to test us. Yes, she said simply. And we lost 5 autonomous war platforms. A failure, by our standards. I stared at her. So why am I here? The stars in her eyes shimmered. Because you were not chosen randomly, Captain Wren. You were the inflection point. The room dimmed. The glass wall now showed another memory, one I had never seen. An alien command chamber. Machines calculating probabilities. A council of towering beings whose forms shifted like liquid geometry. We simulated outcomes, she said. Humanity's response curves. Emotional triggers. Innovation spikes. Survival instincts. All data converged on one conclusion. This individual, Elias Wren, would determine the outcome of the Perseus incident. I felt suddenly small. You're saying I passed your test, I said. She stepped closer.
No.
Humanity passed. You merely exemplified why. Silence settled between us. Finally, I asked, and now? The archivist turned toward the stars. Now the Concord must decide whether your species joins the greater community, or whether you remain isolated until your next evaluation. I exhaled slowly. And what does the Concord think? That, she said, is why I brought you here. A panel opened in the floor. A crystalline device rose, a lattice of light and matter. This is the memory seed, she said. A record of everything your species is. Every triumph, every cruelty, every hope, every flaw. It must be shaped. I stared. Shaped how? By testimony, she said. By will. By belief. You stand here not as soldier, but as representative. Speak for your species, Elias Wren. Tell the Concord who humanity truly is. My heart pounded. This was bigger than war, bigger than politics, bigger than any flag I'd ever saluted. I stood from the chair. I thought of Earth, of oceans and cities, of laughter, of arguments, of lovers and rivals and dreamers, of cruelty and compassion in equal measure, of people who destroyed and people who rebuilt, of children looking up at stars, wondering if they were alone. I thought of Perseus, of friends who died refusing to surrender, of engineers who turned scrap into miracles, of terrified pilots who still launched into impossible odds. I stepped toward the memory seed. We are imperfect, I said. We fight. We fail. We hurt each other. We fear what we don't understand. But we change. We adapt. We grow. We refuse to lie down when the universe tells us to. The lattice brightened. We do not conquer because we are strong, I continued. We endure because we care. Because we protect each other. Because somewhere in every human is a stubborn spark that says, I will live. I will love. I will build something better than yesterday. Light filled the room. We are humanity, I said, and we are ready. The seed pulsed once, then sank back into the floor. The archivist watched me for a long moment. Then she inclined her head. The Concord has its answer, she said. The stars beyond the glass shifted again. A vast structure appeared, an enormous ring of light and energy unfolding in space. A gateway. Welcome, she said, to the greater community, humanity. I stared at the impossible sight. You knew me instantly, I said quietly, before I even spoke. She smiled, the constellations in her eyes swirling gently. Of course, she said. I am the archivist. I have always known you. And now, so does the galaxy. The door behind me opened. Warm light spilled in. A path forward. For the first time in our history, humanity was no longer alone. And I stepped into the future. The archivist stepped aside as the doorway filled with radiant starlight. I took one last breath, feeling the weight of every human heartbeat behind me. The galaxy was waiting. And for the first time, it knew exactly who we were. I stepped forward. Humanity had entered the room, and the universe recognized us instantly.